on, my friends? Today we're talking about a G-Shock Square. This specific model has been out for a little bit, but as always, I'm a day late and a dollar short. I like to consider it being fashionably late to the party, and that's what I'm going to keep telling myself. But anyways, we got to do the basic bitch wristwatch check, so here it is. Today I've got on my Bell & Ross BR05. I figured it was fitting for the overall theme of today's video, and also just because it's a mighty fine looking watch if you're asking me. Getting back to the main topic of today's episode, let's get right into it. Starting off with price, here is my biggest complaint with it. You can find these hovering around $300, which I think is just ridiculous. I can't really say much though, because my whole watch collecting journey is based around purchasing watches with horrible value, but regardless, I just don't think a G-Shock Square has any business being $300. However, with that being said, I think after this video you may think that $300 is actually a bargain. It all just depends on what your comfort level is. You gotta understand that G-Shocks were the first watches I got into back in the day, and I was used to spending $100 at the most on them. That doesn't change my thoughts that this is still an awesome watch, and it certainly did not stop me from getting one for myself. Let's do a quick 360. Right off the bat, you can see mine has a different strap. I want to make it clear that this watch does not come with the composite bracelet. I ordered that separately, and hopefully you'll understand why. It looks absolutely incredible with this bracelet. One thing that you're going to notice right away with this watch is how beautifully dense it is, and that's thanks to the metal core underneath the resin exterior. This is where, at least superficially, you're going to feel like you have a really expensive watch. For the dimensions, here they are on the screen. If you've never worn a Square before, then I gotta tell you the dimensions are close to perfect. It's not small, but not too big, and dense, but not overly heavy. And I think it's safe to say that it has proven itself over many years that it's just an ergonomically fantastic watch. Even if you don't like the style, it's hard to knock its size. Of course, I can only speak for myself. I find that squares of any flavor sit beautifully on my 7.5-inch wrist, and I've got no complaints here. Now for the general information, we've got what appears to be a resin exterior, but the actual case itself is metal, so at least for me, I consider this to be a metal G-Shock. Around the case, you've got 4 pushers to access the various functions of the watch. We've also got a mineral crystal on the top, and a beautiful DLC coated screw down caseback on the bottom. All of this is going to give us 200 meters of water resistance, making this watch hard to beat in the beater category. This watch also has atomic timekeeping, and for those of you that don't know, atomic timekeeping is when the watch syncs up with the various radio towers around the world for the most accurate timekeeping you could possibly have in this price range. Keep in mind that even without atomic timekeeping, because that is a feature you can turn off, these watches are still going to maintain quartz accuracy of around plus or minus 15 to 20 seconds per month. This is also a solar powered watch, so it really doesn't get much better than this when we're talking about a well-rounded watch. It's powered by the sun, maintained by radio, and protected by a rock-solid case. You want to buy one yet? The display is a treat as well. We all know what it looks like, but it's a classic style that, for me, will never get old. I grew up on sci-fi movies from the 80s, and this style of digital watch is what my upbringing was all about. But even looking past the nostalgic factor, it's just a clean and simple display. Everything is clearly shown and the contrast is outstanding. There's not really any noticeable fading at any angle, and I'm very pleased with the execution. Here's a quick look at the backlight. It's great with that beautifully soft white glow, but I gotta say, despite this backlight being more modern and superior, I do prefer the old school chartreuse electroluminescent backlights. And that's just me being stubborn. The only real downside to this backlight and all G-Shock backlights is that the light will cut out whenever you press any pusher. So if you're trying to use this watch in the dark, you're gonna have to turn on the backlight several times to get to the function you need. It's such a poor design choice, and it's a problem for years, and I don't understand why they haven't fixed it yet. The features are fairly basic, nothing you haven't seen before with the world time, alarm, stopwatch, and timer. All the basic G-Shock functions you might need, and nothing extra that you don't. The star of the show here is the caseback. It really does add that extra X factor that puts it over the edge over a standard Square. You'd think that something as insignificant as a caseback wouldn't be a big deal, but I don't know what to tell you. It's just awesome. It's sort of the perfect harmony of what you would expect from a mechanical watch paired together with the lifeless circuitry of retro tech. Does that make any sense? In my mind it does, so I'm just gonna roll with it. Overall, I freaking love this thing. I still think it's overpriced, however, I also think it makes a pretty good case for itself at that price range. I will say that you're not really getting anything more than a $100 5610 square. The only real noticeable difference is the lack of a screw-down caseback. Sure, this watch is going to have a metal core, but honestly, the 5610 is going to survive anything this 5000 can. The 5610 also has a way cooler color scheme with the classic G-Shock red, blue, and yellow on the display. If you're just looking for the square experience, then I say go for the 5610. And if you've already experienced that and want something with a little more premium feel to it, then you're going to love the 5000. That's pretty much all I got to say about this watch. Hopefully at the very least I was able to show you some different angles and get a better understanding of what this watch would look like on your wrist. Thanks so much for sticking around this long. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe if you can. Leave a like, comment your thoughts, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye.